You like beer, you like running, and of course you need an isotonic. I might just have the thing for you. Cheers everybody and welcome back to The Vegan Runner. We've just got back from our lovely sunny recovery run, 5.2 miles of riverside loveliness, Dartmoor at its finest. Now you may not know this, but as well as running, I'm a really keen home brewer and I enjoy nothing more than a good craft beer from time to time. So when Stride Beer, a low alcohol isotonic craft beer, appeared on my social media feed, I thought, why not have a bit of fun and review it just for you? It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. So first up we have On Track, which is a pale lager, and on the label we're told it's a refreshing European style lager. It has roasted malt and hop flavours with hints of honey and a subtle bitter finish. Let's open this up and take a look. Cheers. Now, I'm not really getting hints of honey. It's been a while since I tasted honey, so that might be why. But what I am getting is quite a crisp, quite bitter, quite malty. There's a little bit of caramel in there too, a hint of mango. Slightly fruity, but very refreshing, very easy to drink. Yeah, well carbonated lager, has a nice kind of pale straw colour, and I describe its aroma as very subtle. You can definitely pick out the malt. Maybe there's a little bit of honey in there as well, but it's not strong. It's nice. It doesn't stand out as a low alcohol beer, and I think in a blind taste test, I would find it hard to pick out which was a non-alcoholic beer and which was the normal kind of beer. So I think Stride has done a good job on that front. It has a pretty fair head, nothing major on there, but it's okay for a canned lager. It's got some decent lacing going on the edge of the glass as well, and that's a fairly good sign that the beer's been brewed well. There's a good mouthfeel to it as well. It's not thin tasting, it's got plenty of body. I think they've done a good job with this one. Nice one, Stride. Right, onto the pale ale then, which Stride are calling Dive In, which, if you don't mind, I'll do right now. Cheers. Okay, so on the label we're told Dive In is a hazy pale ale with bags of mango, hints of caramel, and a dry hopped finish. And cheekily we're told it's best before all other recovery drinks. Yeah, nice try. Right, let's dive in then. So a dry hopped beer should have really just like bags of aroma. It should really hit you on the nose straight away. And hazy generally means that there's a fair bit of yeast in the beer, possibly some hop oils as well, so you wouldn't be able to expect to see through the beer, which, okay, it's a little bit hazy, but I can still see through this glass. You know, a lot of these types of beers get described as kind of juicy looking. I wouldn't go as far to say saying that is ever so slightly cloudy. Not sure where they're getting the haze element from, because there doesn't seem to be much going on here. Anyway, okay, let's see if the aroma can hold up to the marketing on the can then. Okay, it's not heavy on the mango either. I definitely wouldn't say it's got bags of it. No, I can barely. It's very subtle. There's very subtle sort of hint of mango. In fact, very subtle aroma at all actually, which is, yeah, kind of disappointing for a dry hopped beer. You expect them to be very aromatic, but yeah, that's a bit strange. Okay, so on to how it tastes. It's a little bit bitterer than the lager, as you'd expect. It's noticeably thinner, so the mouthfeel is slightly more watery on the tongue. It feels pretty light, but again, it's pretty refreshing, but it's not very complex. And weirdly, it isn't as complex as the lager, which had a bit more of a malt background and had a bit more going on. But with this one, the bitterness is really coming to the forefront, but not much else is happening. I mean, I'd happily drink this at a barbecue or something similar, but I'd be looking for something a bit more complex, a bit more interesting if it was my only beer of the week. It's hit the spot after our run though. Like I say, it's quite refreshing. There's something kind of cooling and energizing about the flavour and the bitterness after exercise, so it's definitely not as hop forward as you'd expect from the description, but you know, it's a passable pale ale, and again, I'd be hard pressed to pick this one out as being a low alcohol beer in a blind taste test. So again, they've done quite well there. Okay, so that's the flavour and the tasting sorted. So let's have a closer look at the nutritional profile and see what it is that's special about these beers that makes them suited for athletes looking to recover after their workouts. So both beers are a source of vitamin B12. And that's good to know. As a vegan, it's one of those vitamins that people like to ask, where do you get your vitamin B12 from? Well, now I can say my beer, which is pretty cool. And in terms of calories per can, there's 33 calories in the lager and 43 calories per can in the pale ale. Most other 4 to 5% beers will be around 140 to 160 calories, so that's significantly lower than a normal beer. So what about this beer then that makes it isotonic? That's what we're told on the can, they're isotonic drinks. Well, from my understanding of the word isotonic, it's a word that's used to describe a liquid that has the same concentration as blood. So I think this means that whatever is in the drink can be most readily absorbed by the body, which is important for athletes for obvious reasons. We need to get that nutrition where it needs to be and quick and sharp. Now, there's nothing as far as I can tell that sets Stride apart from any other low alcohol beers. They're naturally all isotonic, so I think Stride have done a good job at finding a marketable quality of all low alcohol beers and then focusing on that quality so that they can pitch it to athletes. So there's nothing really that sets this beer apart from other low alcohol beers. And looking at the ingredients list, you've got water, wheat, oats, barley and yeast and hops. So nothing special there, and you'd find all of those ingredients in every beer. What's good about this then, I suppose, is that you can enjoy a good tasting beer without all of the calories and the alcohol. It's naturally isotonic, so the nutrients will be absorbed as quickly as possible. It's probably not the best recovery drink in the world, but it's certainly a refreshing change and it's changed how I look at low alcohol beers. My wife and I are trying to cut back on our alcohol intake as we look to improve our diets further, and low alcohol beers might just fill that hole when you feel like drinking something a little bit more complex than water and fruit juice. This might just do the trick. So how does the cost stack up, and what about customer service? So I paid £28.89 for a mixed case of 5 pale ales and 5 lagers, and that included shipping. And that brings the cost per beer to about £2.89, and that's fairly on the pricey side of a low alcohol beer, to be honest. I think you can find this quality for cheaper if you shop around. What I like about these cans though is that they're pretty slim, so they fit perfectly into my hydration vest. That was pretty neat and made me smile whilst I was out on my run, knowing that I was running about with beer around. They'd make for a refreshing middle of a long run drink, perhaps partway along a lovely coastal route and you just want to sit and enjoy the view for a bit before continuing on, or maybe they're just fine after a run too. We certainly enjoyed ours. On to the customer service side of things, ordering and delivery were really easy. They arrived well packaged and none of the cans were damaged, so that was a good plus. One downside though was that about half the case was covered in a weird dark grime, possibly a kind of mould or something that was on the kind of like lip on the rim of the can. And all along the groove at the top of the can it was kind of embedded in there, and it seemed like they had some kind of spillage in the warehouse and these beers got splashed or something. So obviously I reached out to Stride, and to be fair they got back to me quickly and they refunded the cost of the beers that were affected, so I thought that was pretty fair. Overall then, an interesting couple of beers, marketed at athletes for its isotonic qualities. They both taste pretty good but aren't the cheapest on the market, and it has opened my mind though to trying out some other low alcohol options, so I will thank Stride for that. Right, what's your post-run tipple? What treats get you through a tricky training week? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, be the best you. Cheers.